This is voetry. Mint tea. I used to wake, wash, dress, comb my way through my morning, and though a myriad of beverages, be it hot or cold, to choose from, the bag of tea always chosen was mint, because it was for you, your favorite, and in a way it was for me. Let's sit and drink tea. Fill my cup enough, more than enough. Make me the woman I am. Made me make demands on a world that easily forgets black girls. Something about Jamaicans and their tea. For us, tea cures all. And like tea, you've soothed my greatest ailments. Depression, anxiety, obsessions, fixations, fading health, insomniac nights, panic, attacks. And I know when I call, you'll pick up. The type of reassurance you can't price. Warm, water, soothing, moving, healing, herbs heal. And we sit and drink tea. You remind me I must eat before I head out. The lecture that my brain will fail without. I have a father, and it's priceless. I have a father who garners and molds the very essence of my soul because he tells me I have replaced his. My father has aged and grayed, and I've grown into grown folk, yet he still ends sentences with daughter, sweetie, and I love you. His baby, always grateful, always. I once asked my father for a poem, and he said no. You see, it's not his thing, it's not really his thing, and he said no, he can't. Point final, the end. What kind of father are you? The type that said no to a poem, yet wrote one 2 months later. You etched my soul for a man who boldly scoffs when I claim him being sweet. You wrote of my first breath. I have no recall, but losing my breath for the first accompanied a gift so fragile and small. The exact thoughts I cannot say, but for the meaningless, there was no thirst when your first breath took my breath away. We sat and drank tea in the mornings. As your daughter, let me be the care you give daily. This is voetry.
My father is a broken child. Too afraid to face the mistakes of his past. Too afraid to accept and acknowledge the children he scarred and wounded from his shattered pieces. Too afraid to reconcile with his demons, to even look me in the eyes and accept that he is the reason his shallow heart nearly drowned my mother in the deep end. I empathize with what my mother had to endure. His words and his actions made her very insecure. I mean, clearly he's aged, but not mature. For so long, I walked around with a heavy heart and a sense of neglect, the juvenile delinquent with no sense of purpose. I was working for a love from my father because I felt I had to earn it. So I sought for ways to get his attention. After school detentions turned to suspensions and then getting arrested, just hoping he would sit and teach me a lesson, just sit and talk with me. Help me try to understand why I felt so awkwardly. I felt diseased and I thought he could doctor me. But see, the older I get, the clearer I see him. Another broken child with little to believe in. After years of reflection, I called him to tell him I forgive him because I expected things of him he wasn't given. I held him high on a pedestal he never even knew existed, and then expected him to know it and live it. But see, our parents can only give us the best they know how. And so I forgave myself and I forgave him because I know this now. And after pouring my heart over the phone, he was speechless. He said he'd call back, and then I heard a doubt tone. But see, regardless, it was one of the most courageous things I've ever done. And I'm so glad that my soul chose to be his son. Because see, they say smart people learn from their mistakes, but wise people learn from others. And because there are so many broken children, I refuse to raising up. This poem was written as a cathartic piece for me to release it about 3 years ago. My relationship with my father has changed dramatically. We have a really, really amazing relationship. I just realized that, in any relationship, you're only responsible for your own half. And I wanted to put this out because there's a lot of healing that's needed in our community around fatherhood. And, just wanted to acknowledge the fact that you're only responsible for your half of any relationship. So hope this poem inspires and helps you out on your journey.
This is voetry.
I have heard your name on the tongue of God, not like the worshippers before you of an inconsistent faith, who pay homage to their gods in feasts of impermanence, bronze and ointments, brass scales and ripe abundance. What is praise, bereft of sacrifice, signaled in burning oil, incense, and scented flesh, a worship of half-truths, wild promises, and selfish askings. But you are a light, the weight of divinity beneath you, tending a wound of sacrament, making choice from blood and water, calling life from a monotony of prayer. You carry a temple inside your skin, your limbs an incantation pressed together in shy blessing. I have never seen a believer like you, and I know if you could rend the skin from your flesh as an offering, you would be nothing but bone. You would be an invincible thing. What would you give up to be holy? Bended knee, you lay your offerings at an altar of undoing. You know the kind of suffering a God requires, the consistency and texture of desire. You know that anguish is a fertile soil, that you will become dust long before this deity is satiated. The name of God is on your tongue like weight made visible. You tend this gentle thing, taste its utmost fragility. Your eyes brim with the light of this name. Your gaze is a rapture. Your mouth is an altar of skin and blood and stone.
This is voetry.
I always catch you at the brink of heartbreak, scavenging for the pieces at your heart's wake. Some of them torn, some of them shattered, some of them scorned, and some of them scattered. I always catch you at the brink of heartbreak, scavenging for the pieces at your heart's wake, digging through the rubble with my golden shovel, hoping to find a piece big enough to start in us. Maybe we can be on the cusp of greatness. I always catch you at the brink of heartbreak, scavenging for the pieces at your heart's wake. I gathered them like flowers and prayed on it for hours, but no matter how tall my love towers, it still falls at your feet. I always catch you at the brink of heartbreak, scavenging for the pieces at your heart's wake. I tried gluing them together and found beauty in the cracks. I made you my mosaic and couldn't look back. I always catch you at the brink of heartbreak, scavenging for the pieces at your heart's wake. hoping for a whole but only seeing half, searching for a soul on a blurry path, running away before they can taste the aftermath. I always catch you at the brink of heartbreak, scavenging for the pieces at your heart's wake, laying still in a candlelit room, waiting on your love to bloom. Sometimes I cry with the moon, wishing my heart would break too. I always catch you at the brink of heartbreak, scavenging for the pieces at your heart's wake. And even though I tried my best to patch the gap within your chest, will it break a little less if I laid your heart to rest?
Hello?
This is voetry.
There's a line out the door of 13-year-old black boys dressed in their Sunday's best, accompanied by parents looking stressed but understanding this rite of passage. It's picture day. So we dress up our teens and make them say cheese, continue this routine every 2 years, images archived online in case our sons die gone too soon. This way, the media can be given the official images that we want used, not the ones they always seem to find that have us looking like we've lived a life of crime and are unworthy of compassion, empathy, inquiries, and investigations. And nobody wants to be here. This is no one's idea of a fun afternoon, a good use of family time, taking pictures in case our sons die, but everyone knows that a picture says 1,000 words, and this might be the only obituary spoken heard, because we are living in a world where more black boys will die in Chicago than soldiers during the Iraq War, where black boys will continue to die from being poor, with poor options and poor choices, leaving us pouring out liquor, spilling spirits for lost spirits, because black lives only seem to matter when they're dead. So every month we put aside funds for our son's education/funeral fund. We live in the now. Tomorrow seems like a cruel joke. When you grow up in communities that make you play Hunger Games for survival, creating rivals out of street codes, often outlined in chalk in our street clothes, we think we're dying prematurely. They think we're dying right on time. So every 2 years we reluctantly join this line, ensuring that the first suit he wears is not the one that he is buried in, that he sees how handsome he is, the potential he has, that he gains the desire to live, so that these pics can be used for nothing more than special occasions and milestones that we celebrate. So let me fix your tie. Stand up straight. Smile, son. It's picture day.
This is voetry.
One man's trash is another man's treasure. I can still see the regret of your ex who spent time sifting through the garbage that he dumped just to find what he's now realized a collector's item, whose love belongs to me, which is you, because he didn't see your value. But in his twisted mind, he thinks I stole you. Shoot, I did what he failed to do. I consoled you. I separated mice from men and refused to bait you in with cheesy lines that had you blindly walk through traps full of trauma. I can still smell the ashes of the hole he burned into your soul, leaving you with hands shaking cereal boxes down to the last drop empty. I was there for the downpour of tears that we boiled to make Earl Grey tea to ease the pain of a turbulent past you couldn't stomach. Shoot, it was so bad you couldn't even take my sugar. It was processed. It was a process to get you to see that I love you and to show you I'm not him, not them, not the boogie and the men that danced around love with no intention to give it to you. Their aim was solely to play games with you. But I refused to jeopardize our fortune with some silly love connection because the price seemed right. I said I refused to jeopardize our fortune with some silly love connection because the price seemed right. But I'll willfully play possum with your past so it's dead to you. I'm on a conquest to remove the mildew off your crown jewel that's made you second guess the quality of your treasure. So I have you appraised often to assess the equity in my investment, because unlike them, I'm not willing to lose you. But I do understand your ex's frustration, and for them, reminiscing must be like, that romantic film where the guy connects all the dots, realize she's the one, so he tries to figure out what train station she's at, starts running really, really, really hard in hopes of getting to that platform for that moment of forgiveness, but then I'm standing there. In fact, that sounds like a really bad horror film, but as of right now, in their current reality, I ain't going nowhere. I get it, she's special. So for any of her exes living with regrets, I honestly feel sorry for you. Because if you know what I know, but you're just now realizing what I know, you missed out on a complete experience with a woman that could have transformed you. But the boy in you would allow her to explore your maturity and challenge your development, so you stayed in a state of prepubescence, seeking out women with lesser intelligence, but always providing you with attention. I know your type, I know you. But now she's gone, and you've grown up some, right? You're ready. But she's outgrown you. You see, you tried to sell her theories of love with no practical application, but she hired your expectations thinking you could fulfill the role of forever. But you knew damn well you were underqualified for the position. You see, she required a man that liked bangles and earrings, somebody that was willing to jump through hoops for her. So I jumped at the shot to fit inside her hole because my goal wasn't to complete her. It was to assist her in the areas that had been punished by men whose insecurities took advantage of her purity, poisoning her mind with bitters, leaving her broken, on the curb, for dead, someone else's trash. So I picked up a masterpiece and placed a prized possession on a pedestal because you fucked up. But thank you. I appreciate it.
This is voetry.
You look like broken hearts and unanswered phone calls. You did warn me. Your eyes told me they'd shift whenever I'd ask the truth. Your smile told me it would Salem witch me, cast an illusion of compatibility and sincerity. Your perfectly white teeth told me they'd bloody themselves from their feast on my heart. Your tongue told me it would lick old wounds away just to make room for new ones. Your skin told me it would lure me into its darkness. Even your long limbs told me they'd wrap me like vines, tight, then leave lacerations. You look like trickery and deceit. But you did warn me. Your charm told me it could hypnotize the deadliest of snakes. Your positivity told me you cheated the laws of karma. Your prayers, oh, your prayers, they told me you'd make me idolatrous, worshipping an idea that wasn't even mine. Your conversations told me they'd drown me deep into the Atlantic with the very ancestors that were supposed to make us one. Bondage to you, your intellect told me it liked chess, calculating, just like your patience that waited for me to make the first move. Checkmate. Guess you found your way to this queen. Your compassion told me it knew what you would do to me, coaxed me all the way through it. You look like false hope and abandonment. But how could